Okay, and Shalom Y'all, and welcome back to another vlog. Today I am just gonna do a chit chat with y'all, and this is a what's for dinner. So this is a cook with me. So I'm gonna jump right into the video. Well, first of all, let me tell y'all what we're making. Watch y'all, I'm just jumping the gun. What I'm making is I'm making a turkey sausage, kale, and butternut squash soup. Oh, and white bean as well. So all of those things together. So turkey sausage, kale, white bean, butternut squash soup. It's very, very hearty. It's very, very fortified. I made a version of this some time ago. I think I did like a smoked turkey version of this some years ago. And so the ingredients for the soup, I got a stick, which is a half a cup of butter. Okay. So one stick of butter is a half a cup. For this size soup that I'm, this quantity of soup that I'm making, this will be plenty. So we'll do a half a cup of butter, melted with a half a cup of flour for the roux. Okay. We also have a pound of white northern bean. The white northern beans were dried. And so what I did was a quick soak on them. I sorted the beans, rinsed the beans, put them in 6 to 8 cups of water on to boil for 2 minutes, and then leave them soak for an hour, rinse, and then proceed as you need to for your recipe. We also have 2 16-ounce or 1 pound rolls of turkey breakfast sausage, or you could do the same amount. And Italian sausage is what we have sauteing in here. I have 1 medium-sized diced onion, 3 stalks of celery, small dice, about, I would say 4 to 6 cups of kale, cut, washed, ready to go. This is a 15-ounce bag of diced butternut squash. And of course your herbs and spices of what we're going to put in here. So you're definitely going to need ground black pepper, or coarse ground black pepper. You're going to need an Italian seasoning mix. So that would be your basil, your oregano, your thyme, your rosemary, like that. You're going to need garlic powder and onion powder. Okay? So that's what you're going to need. I'm trying to be a lot more conscious about what we are consuming, mainly me, more veggie based stuff. And so I'll be able to, with this particular recipe, I'll be able to omit meat or whatever out of it for me, and in that way I can have some of the soup, because it's according to the protocol that I'm on, with whole foods, your beans and things like that. It'll be easy for me to omit out of the recipe and make like a double batch almost. That's what I was talking about, things like that. I do make chunky, hearty, like stews and soups from time to time, and this is one of the ones similar to one that I had made before, but I just did a little switch up. So I know that balance wise it's gonna be really good, because you got the turkey sausage, which has a nice savory taste to it. Then you have a little bit of the sweet of the butternut squash, but texturally it matches really good with the sausage. And then you have the kale for green, deep leafy greens, just another balance of flavor, because the kale has a tendency to be savory but a little bitter. So I figured though that combination would be really, really good. So very simple and easy recipe. Okay, putting complementary flavors together, and the only difference between soup and sauce is presentation. That's basically it. So yeah, you definitely, if you know how to make one pot meals really good, and you know how to incorporate a bunch of different seasonings and stuff to kind of hook some stuff up, then I can guarantee you make a soup. And the thing is that for some people, soups are just kind of intimidating, because you think about, dang, that just seems like a bunch of different complex flavors in one pot, but really it's not. It really isn't. So what I'm doing now, doing a large dice on some celery. Well, not even a large dice, I'll say medium dice on some celery. I'm using celery because I like to have a classic, what they call mirepoix. M-I-R-E-P-O-I-X, mirepoix. And basically what that is you know, celery, onion, and carrots. But I'm omitting the carrots. I'm using butternut squash, diced butternut squash. You can find it fresh in your produce section. It is somewhat hard to cut, but there are a million different tutorials on YouTube that you can use to learn how to peel and dice butternut squash. But what I do, just in essence of time and, you know, because it's easier, I'll go to like my local Publix or my Walmart, and I will get the frozen diced butternut squash. So yeah, that. But if I were using carrots, I would use fresh carrots and just dice them up. That's what I would do. But in sense of the color, I mean the flavor combination that I'm looking for, I'm just gonna use butternut squash. The flavor profile that I want it to be a very, really kind of a spring soup, you know, a spring kind of soup. So, but you can eat it all year round, you know, but I would call this a spring soup. It's hearty, but it's like, you know, it's not a thick, like gut busting soup. And then for the side, for them, I did pick up some brioche dinner rolls, so they're gonna have that on the side. I'll probably omit that myself. So far, I have my white beans doing a quick soak. That is, if you're gonna do a pound, 6 to 8 cups of water. You put sort your beans out, wash them, put them in there with the 6 to 8 cups of water. You bring it to a boil for about 2 minutes, and then you let them rest or sit in the liquid for an hour. You drain and rinse, and then you prepare the beans like you want to. That's how you quick soak. That's what you do when you know you want to make a soup, but you forget, you know, didn't soak them, and so that is a quick tip on there, because otherwise you'd have to soak them overnight. Dried beans. And y'all comment below if you plan on making this recipe. Let me know. I want to know how many people would be interested in making this, because it really is it's a delicious soup. I'm saying that because even though I haven't made this exact variation, I know what my last soup turned out like, and the flavor profile that I'm adding to this soup is even better, so I know it's gonna be the bomb. I know it's gonna be bomb. So anyway, before I go and take a break while we wait on the beans to soak, I do want to add this. I am putting, instead of me doing the soup in the stock pot, I am preparing the soup in my Dutch oven. So one, because of the amount that I'm making is not going to be a huge amount, but two, I need to be able to make sure that my the base for my sauce is gonna be on point, and I like the way the Dutch oven performs for this type of sauce. It's a cream based kind of soup. You don't have to use cream. You can use coconut milk, you can use almond milk. I'm gonna make a roux, which is equal parts of flour and fat, which in this case the fat will be unsalted butter, but you can use another variation of fat. You want to make roux and you want to use coconut, the extra virgin coconut oil, you can use that with your flour. What I do want to try eventually one day is I want to see if I can make a all vegan version of the base of this soup. But anyway, in this sense, this is going to be a cream based soup, so I'll make a roux and go forward from that. So the reason why I want to use this Dutch oven is because I like the way that it performs when I make my roux. So that's another reason why. So just another tip, a pro tip, y'all, when you are getting ready to prepare a certain dish, you know, just take stock in the performance of your cookware, and because some things perform better than others in certain situations. Like, of course, you would use a Dutch oven to braise. If you were doing like this is perfect for oxtails or some other type of dish, like a short rib dish where you would braise it and then cook it in its own liquid, Dutch ovens are perfect for that. So in the sense of me wanting to have a nice hearty base for my soup, I figured this would be the best way to do it. It gives you a really consistent caramelization in it without you having to remove it and place it in a larger receptacle or cooking or a piece of cookware, because you need to add a bunch of liquid to it. So this is why this is perfect for this. So that's why I'm using the Dutch oven, in case anybody was wondering. So I have prepped my onions and I prepped my celery. I am going to go ahead and go bye-bye while we wait on the beans to finish soaking. And then I'll come back and we'll finish up. Okay, y'all. So I'm back. So it's been approximately an hour. So this has completed its quick soak. And I'm getting ready to start the sauteing process for the onions, the celery, the butternut squash, and the kale. So all of the vegetables are going to get sauteed in after I brown the turkey sausage. So what I'm going to do now is turn on my Dutch oven, medium high heat, extra virgin olive oil. I say about 2 tablespoons in there. And then these are the turkey sausage rolls that I like to get. You can also use Italian turkey sausage. I just like the pre-seasoned ones, because a lot of them, like with this one in particular, it has rosemary in it, and that's exactly one of the flavor profiles that I'm looking for. Rosemary pairs very well with like butternut squash, kale and onions and stuff. So I know that that's exactly the flavoring that I'm gonna want as far as the meat is concerned in this soup. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm gonna go ahead and brown the turkey breakfast sausage. It's still a little frozen, so that's why I want to put it on low. Well, it's on medium low right now, but I'll reduce the temperature. But yeah, you can use the Italian sausage, because the Italian sausage also has rosemary. It'll have like a little fennel, like fennel seed, a little bit of oregano, basil, things like that, which I'm gonna add more herbs to this anyway. I just wanted my base, the base of my sausage, to be very flavorful. So that's the reason why I didn't just go with a regular ground turkey. Also, another tip for Dutch oven like mine is coated. So you definitely want to stay away from metal utensils. So wood, silicone, definitely not metal. So I'm just trying to break this sausage up. You want it to look as if like chunks a little bit bigger than a meat sauce for spaghetti, if that makes sense. While that's breaking down, I'm gonna go ahead and get my other strainer so I can strain these beans. So you can see behind me I have the chopped, washed kale that's gonna be added to our soup. I told y'all I'll be cooking. I don't measure nothing, and look, this is browning quite well. I like to use the dark meat of ground turkey because it maintains its moisture a lot better. It's kind of like the dark meat of chicken. Thighs just have more flavor and a lot more succulent. I just really like that. So I'll check back with y'all once this is finished browning, and then we'll go to the next step. And I'm back. So I have drained all of the liquid off the ground turkey sausage. I left a little bit in here, and I mean, it's not going to matter because I'm just going to make the roux in the same pot. I don't wash the pot out because I like the drippings from, you know, what was in here before. So I don't necessarily wash the pot out. I just go with what's in there. So I just put my ½ cup or 1 stick of unsalted butter in there. I'm going to just drizzle a little bit of olive oil in there because I don't want to, it helps the butter to not scorch. And then as soon as that melts, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to sweat my And what by sweat I mean saute on a low heat, so it kind of sweats the vegetables. And you do that with your aromatic vegetables, your celeries, your onions, your garlic, stuff like that. Leeks, you know, something like that. But in this case, I'm just going to sweat them because I just want to get I want to develop the aroma of the onions and the celery in the base of the soup. So we'll make sure that we, and this is a quick roux. This is, it's almost like a pan gravy, almost. So, but this is our base for the soup. So now the butter is almost done melting. It's a nice low kind of heat. That's what we need to sweat. So there's our onions and our celery. Okay. And then for, also I want to tell y'all, sometimes when I saute different meats and stuff, I'll reserve the cooking liquid, especially if it's already seasoned and flavored, you know, like a sausage or, you know, something like that. I reserve the cooking liquid so I can add it back in to the end after I've made the roux and the vegetables have sweated and you got a nice aroma off of it. But you want to sweat it until the vegetables are translucent, just as if you were sauteing it, only you're doing it at a much lower heat. So it will probably put it like, I would say, low, medium to low. So my number goes from 10 to low, so I say 2, right? And so all you want, you don't want color on the vegetables necessarily. All you want is to release the aromatics of it. You want to release it. So that's what you want. And so while that's sweating, I've already got the meat on reserve over here. After those are done and we've mixed our flour in and made our like kind of pan gravy or roux, then we'll start to add in, you know, the other vegetables and add the meat back in. Okay, so I'm gonna let this sweat and then I'll be right back. So this is veggie stock. You can use turkey stock or turkey broth, chicken stock, however you want, water, but I just find it to be a lot more flavorful with, you know, those other options. That looks good. I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. So our onions are translucent. Our celery is a nice kind of muted green. That tells me that it's almost to a point where it's like gonna be translucent, but pale green for celery that was bright green and a deep green. That lets me know that it's sweated. And so what we're gonna do now is make our roux. So I said half a cup of flour, half a cup of butter. Then, you know, you can times the recipe for roux, but it's always equal parts. So there's our half a cup of flour. And I'm just going to gradually, I'm going to make like a little well, like a little hole in the middle of all these vegetables and stuff. And I'm just going to dump the flour in there and start to work it in so that it doesn't have any lumps in it, okay? So I just start working it in. I'll knock all the lumps out of it. I'm going to turn the heat up on it. So we're going to say medium high. And we're just going to start incorporating it in. Just stirring it in there. It's going to look really pasty and really weird. But just trust the process. Now I add a little bit of roux to this soup because it stabilizes the soup, it richens the soup, and then when you put the white beans in there, it makes a very creamy consistency. So then what I'm going to add at this point is my onion powder to this mixture, because again, this is the soup base, so you want to make sure it's good and flavorful. Garlic powder, I have a little secret that I put in here. I'm not gonna tell y'all what it is right now. Everybody, you can't give up all your trade secrets. You know, you gotta keep some for the vault. Yes, I wish y'all could smell it. It smells so good. All right, so now what I'm gonna do, now my roux, I can see it, it's nice and smooth. You'll be able to see right away if you have any lumps or anything in it. So now we got it. The starch is cooked. It's not gonna be all chalky and stuff. It's gonna be nice and smooth. So we just gonna deglaze the pan. Just pour your broth right in here on top of it. Okay. Or I could have sauteed the kale and the squash in there, but it's okay. I'm gonna go ahead and add, because we're gonna add a whole container of that stock. Let me show y'all what it's looking like. See? Nice and creamy. Nice creamy base. That's what you want. You want it just like that. So now we can add all the ingredients to our soup, and it's going to create its own really good liquid. So this is nice and creamy. There's no lumps. It's chunky because of our vegetables that's in it. That's what we need. So I'll go ahead and let me finish putting it, because I had used the rest of one that I already had, but I'm basically just using so if this has this, so 16 ounces out of this container, because I just used half of it in this. So I'm breaking this down a little bit. We'll make sure we got keep our consistency good, keep everything nice and smooth, and we're gonna go ahead and add the kale. Let that cook down in it. Stir that up, you know, in it real good. So as you can see, that was a good bit of kale. It all depends on what you want to do, but I'll say what, 4 to 6 cups, I think I said earlier. So there's the kale, and it's going to cook down. It'll make somewhat of its own juice in it. We're going to go ahead and add the squash. Now here's the thing, if you want a looser soup, you can go ahead and add all of that vegetable stock. And the thing is once the soup cooks down some, if you don't like the consistency, you can add it to it and let it simmer for another 10 or 15 minutes, right? But, you know, it all depends on how you like, what the consistency of it is for you. Like, I like a more filling, chunkier soup. That's what I prefer. Almost like a stew, right? Here's a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt on here. You know, I like a chunky, almost a stew. Either it's like I don't really have a middle ground. It's like I like a chunky, almost like a stew, or I like a broth with additives like pho or like a ramen, you know, like almost, you know, something like that. Not I'm not real good on like just a, not bland, but like just a very monotone or monotexture type of soup. I like either really chunky, hearty, good, or broth with additives. I don't really like the cream, just, and then hints of broccoli in there. Like, I like a chunky. So, all right, so this kale It's cooking down really well. I'm gonna go ahead and add the meat. And I had it on the top because I had to use that other strainer. And then we're gonna go ahead and add the beans. Now, if you don't have a Dutch oven, you can use a pressure cooker. You can use a slow cooker. You can use a big stock pot. You know what I mean? I just prefer to do it in this. If you have it, you know, great, awesome. If you don't, it still will turn out just fine. Okay, so I've added our beans, our kale, our sausage. Here's a little bit of that Italian seasoning I was telling y'all about. We're gonna do a little bit of paprika. About maybe like half a teaspoon. A teaspoon of the Italian sausage. Let's say a teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder. Probably like a tablespoon and a half of Himalayan sea salt. Now that also depends on how well seasoned your Italian turkey sausage or your breakfast sausage is. Because here's the thing, if that has a lot of sodium in it, it has a lot of salt, and then you add salt to your dish, it's gonna be too salty. So what I like to do is, and as you saw here, after I saute it, after I cook the sausage, especially if I've never had it before, I always do like a little taste test, and I know how to adjust my seasonings. It has this sausage, actually it came from Walmart. This sausage actually has a little bit of heat to it, so I saw some red pepper flakes in it, which I like, and just another layer on the flavor. So I like that. So this is really good. Coarse ground black pepper. And then we're going to add a little bit of rosemary. Oh, I didn't even open this one. Just like a couple pinches. Right? Because we want this to be a really good savory soup. And look, the kale is already making a nice, as it's cooking down, it creates a broth in its own. And it's a pretty soup too. I'm telling y'all, this is why I kind of felt like this was a spring soup. You know, because it's got these really light, fresh colors. Remember I told you I held my cooking liquid. So that's all those seasonings and stuff from the sausage. I'm going to add a little bit more water. I hadn't even added any water. I'll add water. So like a cup of water. I think I'm going to go ahead and add that other vegetable broth. Just you put the rest of it in here. I tell you what, I should have added to this, and it really ain't too late, but I'll save it for something else. I should have added a sweet red pepper to this. Okay, y'all, so the soup is complete. I just made Babe's plate. It's really creamy. I actually tested it. It's freaking delicious. And I paired it with some brioche rolls, some brioche dinner rolls. Yeah, it just completed it. It's really, really good and creamy and hearty, but not too heavy, right? Let me see if I can get a close-up of it. Plate it up so y'all can see. Look at that. Nice and creamy, full of vegetables. Now I let it simmer for about 2 hours, right? This is definitely not one of my quicker meals, right? But it's definitely worth making, y'all. Make sure you comment below and let me know if you're gonna make this soup. Like I said, you can have whatever variation you want. You don't have to necessarily even do it with turkey. You can just do it with vegetables. So yeah, I'm getting ready to feed the fam. Y'all, thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you tap the bell so you'll be notified every time we post a video. Okay? And until next time, shalom, y'all.